Today's snake is one of my favorites because it goes by many names. Some call it the giganto, some call it the green, and some just say get off me, you big meanie. This is the green anaconda or the giant Amazonian green snake or the giganto. But today we're talking about the one commonly known as the green anaconda. As a kid, we used to see this thing all the time on Animal Planet and the Discovery Channel. And there was always something about these things that terrified me. Maybe it was the way they just slithered around on the ground like they owned the place. Maybe it was the way the water looked dirty and gross every time they showed a green anaconda swimming underwater. Or maybe it was the fact that they were bigger than the cages at the local zoo. It didn't matter if it was daytime or nighttime. If it was a swamp and it was wet, chances are a green anaconda was lurking around waiting for dinner. And don't worry, I'll get to what dinner means in a second. The green anaconda is the heaviest snake in the world. The heaviest snake in the world. This is actually pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Snakes don't have bones, so they can literally squeeze their bodies into any shaped box or hole, and they race still comfortable. Yet the green anaconda is too heavy for its own body type. That's like saying a kangaroo rat is too heavy for its own body type. There's just no way. But it's true. These things are massive. They've been recorded at well over 20 feet long and over 440 pounds. Now most of these records come from South America where green anacondas are native. But recently there have been some sightings in Florida. There was even one report in 2023 of a giant green anaconda that had made its way into the Florida Everglades. Her name was Banana and she measured in at 17 feet long. She was pregnant and she was captured alive and relocated. Banana now lives at a sanctuary in South Florida. So if you live in the Everglades, keep an eye out for giant snakes. And if you want to move to Florida, let me stop you right there. The only reason this snake is in the Florida Everglades is because humans put her there. Well, actually, people haven't been intentionally releasing green anacondas into the Florida Everglades. But people have brought them as pets and then released them into the wild when they got too big. And other times people have gotten them from shady dealers who got them from poachers. No matter how you slice it, humans are to blame for this snake being in Florida. And it isn't the first time. In the late 1990s, there was another giant female green anaconda named Medusa who was also captured alive and relocated. Both of these anacondas were tracked with GPS telemetry, and both of them seem to be doing okay. So there is hope that this species may become established in the Florida Everglades. Time will tell. But if you're wondering why these two snakes seem to have disappeared after they were located, it's probably because anacondas are excellent swimmers, and they disappeared into the water. Speaking of swimming, this is probably one of the scariest parts of the green anaconda. They're massive. You know that. But if you go swimming in murky water somewhere in South America, you might not be able to see a green anaconda coming until it's too late. Snakes can hold their breath underwater for a really long time. There are some smaller species that can stay underwater for up to 8 hours at a time, but anacondas can stay underwater for days. We don't know exactly how long, but I wouldn't push it to find out. Not only that, but anacondas are apex predators and the apex predator of freshwater ecosystems in their native range. They won't hesitate to attack anything that enters their territory. Now, if you run into one of these things while you're swimming, I wouldn't recommend running away. If you try to swim away, it'll catch up to you. And if you try to fight it off, it'll just wrap itself around your body and crush you. Anacondas hunt by constriction, meaning they wrap themselves around their prey and then squeeze tight until their prey suffocates. This is definitely something you don't want to happen to you, especially if the anaconda in question weighs 440 pounds. If a green anaconda squeezes you with all its might, it could crush every bone in your body, squeeze all the air out of your lungs and make you black out in seconds. Sometimes it takes them a little bit longer, though. There was one reported case of a man named Jose Luis Choi who was attacked by a green anaconda while he was swimming across the river. He said that the snake squeezed him several times during the attack, and each squeeze lasted for about 3 minutes. but each time the anaconda let him go. He managed to escape unharmed, although he did lose his glasses during the ordeal. So green anacondas are constrictors, but they're not technically constrictors. Does that make sense? Basically, there are two types of constrictors. There are the ones that kill their prey by squeezing, and there are the ones that kill their prey by making it unable to breathe. Green anacondas fall into the second category. Even though they do squeeze really hard, their main method of killing is through suffocation. This is kind of interesting because they don't eat their prey right away. After anacondas kill their prey, they tend to keep it around for a while, sometimes up to a week. Then they come back to it and eat it over several meals. This is different from most other snakes because most other snakes swallow their food whole. I guess eating a meal that size would give you a stomachache anyway. Even though green anacondas are mainly constrictors, they aren't picky eaters. Their diet consists of fish, turtles, birds, monkeys, deer, and humans. Yes, there have been several reports of green anacondas preying on humans. Luckily, these attacks are rare. And when they do happen, it's usually because humans are doing something stupid, like trying to take a selfie with a giant snake. Just last month, a man named Rodrigo Farias was killed by a green anaconda while he was taking a selfie with it. He was in the Brazilian jungle with a group of friends and decided to take a picture with the anaconda. But the snake wrapped itself around his legs and pulled him into the water. Rodrigo's friends tried to pull him out of the water, but the anaconda kept pulling him under. Eventually the snake let go of Rodrigo and his friends were able to pull him out of the water, but he was already dead. So, yeah, anacondas can be dangerous, but it's not all bad news. Anacondas play an important role in their ecosystem. Since they're apex predators, they keep populations of other animals under control. And they're also a food source for jaguars. Jaguars love to eat anacondas. If you ever see a jaguar lounging around on a rock, there's a good chance it just ate an anaconda. Speaking of eating, anacondas don't need to eat very often because they eat so much at once. Adults only need to eat once every 5 or 6 months. But the frequency of their meals depends on how much prey is available. When there's plenty of food around, anacondas will eat more frequently. Like most snakes, green anacondas give birth to live babies. That's right. They don't lay eggs. Instead, they have internal fertilization, and the embryos develop inside the mother's body. When they're ready to be born, the mother gives birth to up to 40 baby anacondas. Yes, 40 at a time. Imagine getting 40 text messages from your mom on the day you're born. You'd probably die of a heart attack. When they're born, baby anacondas are about 2 feet long, which isn't tiny, but they aren't full-grown yet. They need a few years to reach sexual maturity and then several more years to reach their maximum size. This is good news for us humans because baby anacondas are way less dangerous than adult anacondas. But it doesn't make them harmless. In fact, there was one reported case of a baby green anaconda that killed a human. The snake was only 6 months old and 5 feet long. It attacked a woman while she was gathering water in a lagoon. It wrapped itself around her waist and squeezed her until she died. To make matters worse, this wasn't the first time something like this had happened. About 15 years earlier, a man had been killed by a green anaconda of a similar size in the same spot. So maybe we should be more afraid of baby green anacondas. Anyway, even though green anacondas can be scary, they're also pretty cool. I mean, how can you not be impressed by a snake that is over 20 feet long and weighs over 440 pounds? It's like nature's way of saying, hey, we're still in charge around here. And it's hard to argue with that. Thanks for watching. See ya. Did you know that there is a snake out there that is not only bigger than an anaconda, but also longer than an elephant? Welcome back, everyone, to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about the longest snake species in the world. The title of the longest snake goes to the reticulated python, which belongs to the genus Python. The reticulated python is also known as the Malayan python or the Javan python. These snakes are native to Southeast Asia, specifically Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, the Philippines, and southern Vietnam. They are most at home in swampy areas, marshes, river deltas, and slow-moving streams. They are adept climbers, and they can also thrive in secondary forests, bushes, and even suburban gardens. Even though this snake is non-native to the United States, it has been found in parts of the U.S., including Florida, Texas, and Arizona. Reticulated pythons have a slender body with a pointed head and a pair of heat-sensing pits between their eyes and nostrils. Their scales are smooth and glossy, and their color varies depending on where they live. Some of them are tan or gray while others are brown or black. Many of them have a lighter underside and some have red or orange blotches or lines running down their backs. Since they are excellent swimmers, they tend to be darker in color so that they can camouflage themselves against the dark water when they are underwater. Those that live in areas with lots of vegetation tend to be lighter in color, and they often have blotches or stripes that help them blend in with their surroundings. Reticulated pythons can reach incredible lengths. On average, females are 13 feet long and 7 meters, while males are usually around 10 feet long or 3 meters. However, there are many reports of reticulated pythons growing much larger than this. There was one reticulated python named Medusa that lived in the Bronx Zoo. She was 20 feet long and weighed 330 pounds. When she died in 2020, her skeleton was put on display at the zoo. There is also a famous reticulated python named Kimball. He is 25 feet long and weighs 400 pounds. And if that isn't impressive enough, there are many unverified reports of reticulated pythons reaching lengths of up to 30 feet or more. If these reports were true, then it would make the reticulated python even longer than the blue whale, which averages around 26 feet or 8 meters in length. When it comes to girth, anacondas are typically larger than reticulated pythons. However, because reticulated pythons can grow longer than anacondas, they can still hold more prey in their stomachs. Reticulated pythons are carnivorous, and they will eat almost anything that enters their territory, including birds, rodents, primates, crocodiles, turtles, buffaloes, and even humans. No prey is too big for a reticulated python, which means that they can consume prey that is almost as big as they are. In order to catch their prey, reticulated pythons rely on their keen sense of smell and hearing. They don't have eyelids, so they must rely on their other senses to find food. Once they get close enough to their prey, they strike fast and wrap their bodies around their meal until it suffocates. They are able to eat their prey whole, and after they swallow it, their stomachs expand greatly to accommodate it. Their digestive system then slowly breaks down the prey over several hours. A full stomach can take up to 2 days to digest, and during this time, the python won't eat or drink. After they have digested their meal, they are ready to eat again. Even though reticulated pythons are constrictors, they do not kill their prey by squeezing the life out of it. Instead, they basically strangle their prey by blocking its airways. They constrict their prey by tightening their abdominal muscles and expanding their ribs. This compresses the rib cage and makes it hard for their prey to breathe. As their prey struggles to breathe, their muscles become oxygen-starved and begin to shut down. This causes their heart to stop beating and their muscles to go numb. So basically, they fall asleep and die without being crushed or torn apart by the python. Since reticulated pythons are very large and powerful, they don't have many natural predators, except for humans, of course. Sometimes tigers will hunt them, but it's not common. It is believed that there are around 100,000 reticulated pythons in the wild, and each year around 1,000 to 2,000 babies are born. So their population is relatively stable. Even though they can be hunted for their skin, this is illegal in most places today because most countries have realized that they are an important part of the ecosystem. So killing them off could have negative effects on the environment. In the wild, female reticulated pythons give birth to live young, a process that is also called viviparity. But captive-bred reticulated pythons lay eggs. One python can give birth to around 100 little snakes at once. When they are born, they are around 2 feet long and look just like miniature versions of the adults. Newborn pythons are able to find food on their own and they grow quickly. In the wild, they are sometimes hunted by birds of prey and other snakes, but most of them live to adulthood. Sexual maturity is reached when they are around 7 years old, and they can live up to 30 years in the wild. In captivity, they can live much longer. One kept in a zoo might live for 50 years or more. So now you know that there is a snake out there that can grow longer than an elephant. But did you know that there is another snake out there that can grow bigger than a house? Meet the green anaconda. The green anaconda lives in South America, and it is the largest member of the boa family. Even though the reticulated python is longer than the green anaconda is much thicker, and it is believed to be the heaviest snake in the world. Females are usually around 17 feet long and weigh 500 pounds, while males are around 13 feet long and weigh 300 pounds. And verified reports claim that the green anaconda can grow up to 29 feet long. Even if these reports weren't true, it is clear that the green anaconda is still bigger than the reticulated python. When it comes to girth, the green anaconda really has no rival. Its body is like a thick python, and it can squeeze its body to make it narrower so it can fit through small spaces. Green anacondas live near water, and they feed primarily on fish, turtles, birds, monkeys, deer and tapirs. They also eat crocodiles and other snakes, including anacondas. Most of their meals consist of fish, however. Green anacondas don't constrict their prey to death. Instead, they basically swallow their prey whole. As their teeth dig into their prey, they hold on to it and force it down their throat. Because they don't chew their food, their esophagus must be extremely flexible in order for them to swallow prey as big as they are. It is believed that green anacondas are able to swallow prey that is as wide as their body and as long as 10 feet. Their stomachs can expand greatly so they can hold huge amounts of food. There have been many attacks on humans, but green anacondas rarely kill people. They tend to prefer sticking to prey that is smaller than them. Even though green anacondas are reptiles, they can sometimes be seen basking in the sun, either in the water or on land. It takes a lot of energy to maintain their large body size, so they must bask frequently in order to keep their body temperature up. They are good swimmers and spend a lot of time in the water. In fact, they are believed to be the best swimming snakes in the world. They can swim at speeds of up to 3 miles per hour, which is pretty fast considering their size. Green anacondas usually mate during the spring and summer, and females give birth to live young every 4 to 6 years. Each litter can have up to 40 babies, and the sex ratio is about equal. Baby green anacondas are fully developed when they are born, and they are able to fend for themselves immediately. They have sharp teeth and powerful jaws, and they are not afraid to attack other animals. Sometimes they are hunted by jaguars and anacondas, but most of them survive to adulthood. They reach sexual maturity at around 10 to 15 years old, and they can live up to 30 years in the wild. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching.